On this episode of the Real Life Caddy podcast, Zabbo and I are joined by Eddie Olson, aka Eddie O the Pro. As always, we kick things off with a couple of Caddie stories. Zabbo fell in love with a couple of young ladies at the Wii course, we all discuss what an amateur golf tournament should not be called, and Eddie tells us about his return to competitive professional golf. After Caddie Stories, we answer some listener mailbag questions, where we get an update on DJ Caesar, we give advice on where to tee it up, and we share embarrassing experiences we've all had on the course. As always, we end the episode with our shoutouts. If you're new to the podcast, please feel free to go back and listen to previous episodes. And if you have a YouTube account, make sure and subscribe to the Glorified Donkey Golf channel. Brand new content is imminent. In the meantime though, we hope that you enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the Real Life Caddy podcast, the number 2 most popular golf podcast in Vietnam.
So who beat us out?
What's number 1?
Yeah, who beat us out?
I think it's Rick Shields.
Damn you, Rick Shields.
Yeah, he's boring.
Yeah.
We're coming for you, Rick.
Yeah,
But yeah,
this podcast goes well.
I was checking the analytics the other day, and it turns out we are the second most listened podcast in Vietnam.
Should we go over there? Maybe shoot a couple
love
episodes over there.
I'd love that. We're obviously
all our listeners in Vietnam, let us know if you want to host us.
That's the voice of the bearded leprechaun, Zabbo.
That's me. Good to be here.
And we're also joined by Eddie O the Pro.
Eddie-O.
Good to be back.
Welcome back, Eddie.
Boys.
How are you?
I'm doing great. We had a nice loop today. It was in the rain, sopping wet. So glad to be here, warm and ready for this.
Yes. This morning was rain.
Which is crazy because it's kind of early in the season for rain, but I felt it when I walked out the door and I went back for the rain gear, and I'm glad I did.
I don't have rain gear.
You went out there with no rain gear?
I don't have waterproofs. I just wore shorts.
You made it through all right?
Yeah, Big G just takes it.
Wow.
We did 4 hours this morning, which is an absolute miracle.
Blitz it.
First off, it's quite the treat.
And then we saw the 5.5 hours as we got to number 16.
Yeah, that was me. I was out there for about 5.
Nah, you were what, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock. It was about 5 hours.
Nah, we saw the 11 o'clock group. Oh dear.
Oh
dear.
Not good.
So boys, I'm surprised you're here because I saw you fall in love this time last week, Zabbo.
No.
Let's hear about it.
Oh, you want to hear about this one?
Go ahead. You tell your version and I'll tell you what really happened.
Well, I had a job last Sunday. I worked very hard last week. I did 7 days in a row, and the 7th day was a single off of a golf cart with a blue flag. Now,
Mark Turner. Yeah.
A guy called Mark Turner from
we
Arizona.
love Mark.
The dream loop.
He got his knees done about 5 years ago, and he's still
milking that. It's like, oh, my knee.
Oh, Eddie, you'd love this guy, right?
He's a class act.
He is a good lad.
Yeah.
And I turn up, it's a single off a car, as I say, blue flag, so we can drive to the ball. It's not even work. The guy, he's played there 100 times. It's good fun. And as I get to the first tee, 3 minutes before my tee off time,
about right.
That's late.
Zabbo's there. And I was like, hey, Mike, what time are you going? Because I was hoping he was going to be with us. And he said, no, I'm like, I think we're 12:50, you're 1 o'clock.
Yeah, correct.
And Mark looks at me and goes, oh, I wish they were with us. And I turned around, there's these two. Isn't it funny? Like 2 hot girls, right? Little short skirts.
They were very attractive.
Right? And it's funny when a good-looking girl turns up at a golf course, because all of a sudden, the worms come out the hole.
They do. Everybody was looking around.
The deer comes out the trees. The boys come out the pro shop. And Zabbo says, oh, I'll go you two.
Smart man.
Okay, let's back it up for a minute and explain what really happened. So, it's actually, I was going twice that day. So I get off my first loop, and it was an interesting loop. So I get out there before the first loop even starts. The guys were, the manager was like, maybe we change out these bags, and I carry that bag anywhere I go. And it was one of those big vessel bags, and then the other guy had the stitch bag, and they were both overweight. So
horrible.
It was a horrible start. And then I said, what tees are you guys going to play? And they said, we're going to play the blues. I said, okay, just so you know, blues are 6,900. They play about 73, 74. Golds play about 7,000. He goes, I'm a +2. He's a +1. He's a scratch, and he's a 1 handicap.
Sure.
We didn't see one par in the group until the 6th hole. And it was actually a great par in the 6th hole. It was a tough hole from the Blues. These guys were terrible. And not only that, the other caddy was struggling. They were not getting along with their player. Older guy, he was struggling to keep up. We were first off. It's the first time this has ever happened to me. We get done. My guys were okay. Well, we hit it off by the end. They were fine. The other guy, I went up to him, and as I typically do when I finish round, pleasure. It was a pleasure. Enjoyed it. He looks at me and goes, I wish I could say the same. And he was dead serious. I've never had anybody do that. I said, hey, it was a pleasure. Really enjoyed it. He looks at me and goes, I wish I could say the same.
Oh, good talk.
I'm like, wow.
Good to be with you too, man.
About you or about...
No, about the other caddy.
Guy.
But I was like, wow, man, that's kind of cold, but whatever. So I walk off, get to my second loop. So I'm kind of explaining the gist of my first loop to you. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, yeah, I got these guys from Chicago. And then I could see, you and me are very similar in this regard. Like, we know what's going on around us. We're always looking to what's going on. So I know the 4 people that are in my second group. I could tell they were the 2 young ladies and these 2 dudes.
And I was hoping they were in my group.
And I'm telling you about this group from Chicago. And then I hear the dude go, I'm from Chicago. He's like talking to me. So I could tell. I'm like, I saw the dudes walk up, and super cool guy, Jake and Ryan, super cool guys at the end of it. But they walk up and they heard that story, and I'm like, I'm definitely not taking them. And then I see, Brittany and Carrie, and what did they say to me? They said, you're going to have the greatest day of your life. I'm like, that's my lib right there. That's my lib right there. And they were just super cool. I mean, they had won the trip. It was like some sort of raffle that they won in Chicago. Okay. But super cool. They were playing music all day. She kept texting me like, why you on that tee box? You never go to that tee box. I had to remain close to the tee box because the phone was in Carrie's pocket and the music was right there. So I didn't want the phone to disconnect.
They were playing Michael Jackson. Man in the Mirror on the 6th tee.
Well, Carrie's music selection. She's a podcast listener now too. So, but her music selection was very wide.
Carrie, your music's garbage. But we were laughing the whole time because Mark, he plays his stuff and he's driving. Of course, if you're driving to the ball, you get plenty of time. And I said, Zabbo's never been to that tee in his life.
They were a fun group. They were drinking. They were having fun. They were super fun.
On the wee course, Zabbo's never seen the 14th tee, the 16th tee, or the 18th tee. And I actually took a photo on 18. I sent it to Man Bun. I said, look where he is. And he got it straight away.
They were a pleasure to be around.
Aye, they were cracking.
They actually, I found a phone on like the second hole. I found a phone, some random guy's phone in front of us. So I go, come over here, girls, come over. And so we took a selfie. We took a selfie of it. And I'm like, and Brittany's like, you gotta give him our number so that's a great picture of us. He's got to send that to us. It was pretty funny. So that guy has a random picture of a caddy and two young ladies playing golf at Spyglass.
All good, clean fun.
It was. They were good people.
Now, I wanted to get Eddie on today because I had a story about 2-3 months ago. I held on to it. And I knew we'd have Eddie back on at some point.
Was Eddie involved in this story?
Eddie was not.
Okay.
A regular guy that comes into town for me had asked me to go and caddy a Black Horse and Bayonet.
Your home track?
My kind of home course.
Yeah.
And it was some amateur event. Nonsense. Remember I told you that I got huckled for jumping the back of the cart from the fun police?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This was the event. So it goes back a few months. Well, it was on Bayonet, 36 holes. Just, Brian's about 55 years old. All these kids are from college. Scratch to maybe 5. I think Brian's a 3. Mm-hmm. And he held his own, actually. It was a good couple of days.
Just some sort of amateur tournament?
Just an amateur event. Slow Monday, Tuesday. They want to make a wee bit of money. Maybe I have no idea what it was. He just asked me to go and caddy for him. And it was a bit of a joke, to be honest, the caddying, but we had a lot of fun. Well, on the Sunday, we went up for a practice round. I played 9 holes with him. He was incredibly hungover, and that's why we only did 9 holes. But we played with a guy who was from about 3 hours away. I think he was from Sacramento. Name was David, I think. And the following day, I see David as we're crossing from, the 9s. We're going to 10T, and he's going to number 1. And I said, how are you getting on? He goes, oh, you wouldn't believe it. This guy we're playing with, he just shot like 54 in the front. Okay? I'm going, 54 in the front? Well, he actually turned out he shot 54.67. right?
It got worse from there?
It got worse. 67
This
on
is
the
a
back
scratch
nine.
tournament?
This was a tournament where you paid
No handicap.
a significant amount of money to get in there because there was obviously... He shot 54, 67. His name was Oleg, right?
Oleg?
From
And-
where? Norway?
I would hope so. And he was actually thrown out of the tournament by the pro. Scott, the pro, who we all know, actually went up to him in the morning and said, listen, there's two things that are going to happen here. You are either going to go and play Black Horse on your own right now. He says, or you're going to jump in your car and you're going to leave.
Oh, wow.
And he said, listen, I'm all about people competing and stuff, but he said, I can't have you coming out here and just shooting 121.
Disrupting the tournament and people
That's
playing.
a big number. Come on. I mean,
He's
Up
disrupting
toss
the
high.
tournament and the people playing. And
He's killing it.
And props to Scott for stepping up and saying something to a guy like that, because there is, I don't want to say a lot of guys like that, but there are guys like that out there who come into tournaments and do that type of thing, and they're a distraction.
Have you had that happen to you?
I've had that happen in events. You know, for example, in every year in a local qualifier, anyone with a 3 handicap or less can go play. Like some of Zabbo's guys that he caddied for, that none of them, were all plus handicaps. That can't make par.
they're not going to qualify.
So they sign up and they tell all their buddies, oh, hey, I'm going to try to qualify for the U.S. Open this year, Johnny. Oh, I can't wait.
God.
They shoot 94. And thank God for the USJ. This is the one thing they do right, is that if a player shoots above 85 or 88 or something, they're not allowed to come back the next year or 2 years. And they have to prove with their handicap the last year or two that they're an actual,
3 handicap.
3 handicap or better, whatever it is, 2 point something, which is a great thing because, you got guys who are serious and who have a chance to qualify for the U.S. Open. And, you're playing with Johnny Hack, who's shooting 95 and he's all over the place, and you're on the right side of the fairway. He hooked his 8th shot in the woods, and you got to be a nice guy to go, help him look for it. So it's, props to Scott for stepping up, and any other pros out there encountering people like that in the future, don't be afraid to say something to Johnny Hack, because he needs to be told what to do.
Oleg Hack.
Did he like lose a fantasy football bet or something? I mean,
I remember that a few years ago,
that
wasn't it?
happens a lot. Like people, you see that a lot. Like I was forced to play in a U.S. Open qualifier, and this guy shot 140 because he lost his fantasy football league.
And they had red in the face. Their face looks like a tomato on the first hole. They're so nervous they can't even breathe. And so it's
Nightmare.
an interesting experience. And
54, 67, 121.
So
I was
what?
gonna say, that's
so
good.
What did Oleg do? Did he go and play Black Horse, or did
He went off to play in Black Horse.
I got to improve somehow.
well, he was playing by himself, so I'm sure he shot 80, right? He's 75.
No, he shot 61,
60.
course record.
He posted a 61. He's a +4 now. Yeah, he's a +4.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to tell that story, I knew you were back on. You are back into professional golf. You're starting to
Big G.
the
So,
wick.
well, I last couple weeks I got my game. I started playing a little bit. There was the recent Monterey Open in town at Del Monte 2 weeks ago, which I have played in the past. I was fortunate enough to win it one year, so I thought it's a local tournament. I'll sign up for it, and the winner gets an invitation into the TaylorMade, which is held at the resort, which is a very fun tournament.
Did you get into that when you won?
I did.
Nice.
I did. And it's a very cool tournament. They put you up at Spanish Bay all week. They give you a nice gift card. And it's, you play for a nice purse.
Yeah.
So it's a huge opportunity for a, low level pro like myself.
Did you try and sublet the room?
I
That's
thought
actually
about
a good
it.
idea.
I figure, well, if I don't play well this week, I'm not out any money, but I can also. Oh, hey, Johnny, would you like? This room's $1,400 a night.
Give it to you for 600 a night.
Give me 5. I'll take 5.
Okay.
So
you're back into it.
So I'm back into it, and I played the event. I figured, and I also signed up for a PGA Tour qualifier. The day after the Monterey Open on Thursday, the Monterey Open ended on Wednesday. I came out of the gates hot.
I was watching,
I shot
man.
66.
I
I was
know.
feeling good, and I was kind of back in that here we go mentality. I still got it. All right, here we go. I'm feeling good. And then just kind of laid an egg the next 2 days. The rust kind of got to me, and it just shows that how difficult this game is and how much work is required to put in to play at a high level. And we played Del Monte. It's not the hardest course. It's a short course, but Del Monte or the PJ Tour or any other professional event in the world, after 3-4 rounds, if you're not 15, 20 under par, you're not sniffing the lead. You're not sniffing a top 5. So you got to make a lot of birdies. You got to play so aggressively these days. And, I got off to a good start with my 66 and unfortunately was just unable to keep it going and finished, 15th or something. So
you went 66,
70,
121, 118. Was that right?
I would have given Oleg a game. Yeah. And if he's listening, anytime, man, you want to play, let's go.
No, but you finished the tournament like 6 or 7 under par, right? You just shot about even the next 2 days.
Yeah, and it's like 15th place. The winner shoots 17 under, or 16 under. So again, professional golf these days, if you're not shooting 3 to 5 under a round, you're just getting lapped.
So you go from that and you flew to San Diego?
Yeah, so I finished that event. I hop on a plane that night and I go play the pre-qualifier for the new PGA Tour tournament, which they have in Cabo in the first week of November.
That's in Mexico for the non-American listeners.
Yeah, Cabo, Mexico.
Good spot.
It's like down there. Yep, you ever seen Narcos Mexico? That's basically
great show, by the way.
Not bad.
I like it.
Quite enjoyed
It is
that.
good.
Yeah.
But no,
One
it's
of my
down in
favorites.
Mexico.
So I finished the Monterey Open and I hop on a plane, go play the pre-qualifier, and I shoot even par. It gets me through.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
The
tough
pre-qualifier, right?
Yeah, because it's the qualifier for the qualifier. So you pay the PGA Tour just kills it in these qualifiers. So the pre-qualifier, for example, I'm paying $250.
Yeah.
And if you get through, you advance to the Monday qualifier, which is another $250. So they're getting $500 out of all of us non-PGA Tour members.
Do you get a free bottle of water or some teas or something?
No, you don't even get free range balls.
No.
Wow.
You know what? They do have teas in the first hole for you though. So
That's nice.
Range balls.
Yeah,
Shocking. Bring your own.
BYORB.
So you play on that on a Thursday.
I play that on Thursday. I fly home Thursday night, and then I play a little pro member event up at Tehama on Friday, Saturday.
That's Clint Eastwood's golf course.
Clint Eastwood's golf course. Shout out to Jerry Lazinski for getting me out at the last minute. That was really fun. When I played up there last weekend, the greens were probably the fastest greens I'd ever seen in my life. They were rolling probably a good 14, 15.
Dang.
It's like putting on pool tables. So it was a But so I finished that on Saturday. Back.
Would you shoot up there?
It's a tough track,
It was
man.
a
Track.
what was a point event, the Stableford event.
Stapleford.
So there was 30, 40 local pros, and I finished 3rd or 4th or something. I don't know, 5th. Not enough to not good enough. My game hasn't been exactly sharp. I need to tighten up a few things around the edges. Hence the lackluster scores I've been shooting. Mm-hmm. But so I finished that, and I hop on a plane Sunday morning, fly to San Diego, back to play the pre-qualifier, and
back to play the Monday.
Back to play the Monday qualifier after getting through the pre-qualifier.
Was the cardboard that you slept in on the Thursday night still there?
It was. I kept it in the same spot. Yes. I even had my banana there too. So yeah, and I get up. We play Monday morning, and I'm feeling good. Got up to a good start, hitting some good shots, and unfortunately, I wasn't close. I shoot a couple over par, and it took 5 under to get through, which is pretty typical. 5 to 7 under usually gets you through a Monday qualifier, and those are crapshoots. Everyone's you basically paying whatever for the PGA Tour guys. They're showing up Sunday. They're paying $100 to get in, and if they get in, great. If not, then they're out a couple $100. For the pre-qualifiers like myself, well, you got to pay for the pre-qualifier.
$1,000.
I'd say it's $1,000 minimum.
And plus, you miss work.
Hotels, cars, food,
Flight,
uncomfortable. Staying the Best Western, uncomfortable. Places to sleep. It's just a really quick in and out. So it's
not fair. You're sharing a room with someone you don't even know as well. You're going halfers.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I didn't this time, but I did in the
Sharing a
pre-qualifier. Yeah. Hey, I've done it before. Not just with one person.
Do what you got to do.
I remember we played an event down outside of San Diego, in some town in the middle of nowhere. It's dodging me right now, but
Tijuana.
Yeah, Tijuana. So there was, I think, 6 of us to a room. So, okay, so 2 of us were in a bed per bed, and then we had a blow up mattress, and 2 guys were in that. So you want to talk about cutting cost? How about 6 people in a room sharing 1 shower? It was quite fun. It was, but looking back, I mean,
that's fun.
You know, well, you know, the banter was fun, but once you like, okay, I got to go to sleep, and then I got to, you know, get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I don't want to trip over this guy sleeping in his air mattress. And I mean, talk about, it's not even worth cutting costs at that point.
It sounds so bleak.
So, you know, so
sound bleak. No thanks. No thanks.
No thanks.
I'd rather go camping, and I hate camping.
He'd rather go to Disneyland again.
Yeah, exactly.
Disneyland. You don't like Disneyland?
No, it's not my favorite
6 times
place
a
in the
year.
world.
He's got
come on, it's
You
not
get
fun.
used to it. You get used to it.
They have their own room that's named after them. It's called the Zabbo Suite.
Hey, we donate a lot of money.
There you go. So, what is the difference right now, like compared to that's what 18 months since you were kind of?
Yeah, give or take, 1.5 to 2 years. Well, the difference is me just not playing and practicing as much as I was. I mean, to play pro golf at a high level, you need constant attention of your swing, and the TrackMan obviously helps. Getting on that quite frequently, get your numbers checked. Getting out, getting solid practice. Yeah, that's just not something I've been able to do the last couple months, last year or so, and it reflects in your scores. So, like prior to the Del Monte event in this tournament I played, I was going out to my local course, Seascape. Shout out to Seascape, and getting some work in there. But you really have to, for those who are thinking about playing professional golf or just how to maintain a consistent game, you got to play with your buddies a lot. You got to play money games, or you got to, when you're not playing in competition, you got to try to mirror that as much as possible and almost make it harder in the practice or in the time before that. That way, when you tee it up in the tournament, it seems easy. Whereas me, I'm just kind of going in cold. I haven't really played much, and I haven't proved myself that I've been consistent shooting good numbers. So it's very difficult to go out and do it consistently if you're not doing it all the time at home.
Does it motivate you to, get a little bit of taste going though?
Yeah, it did. I mean, there's nothing like, I love the competing is just, that's what I live for. And, the first round at Del Monte when I played, I was really feeling like I was back in that zone. And then it just totally flip-flopped the next week after that. But, looking back, analyzing the shots I hit and the thoughts that I had, it was very positive and constructive, and motivated me moving forward to say, okay, I don't know, it's not like I'm gonna grind like I used to, but there's still some good golf in there and good enough to go out and play some tournaments and try to compete. And so
cool. Well, I think we discussed earlier on today that maybe we might end up going to Hawaii actually and trying something out there. So
yeah, there's stuff I could play. Like Hawaii, for example, is a great place to go try to qualify for the Sony Open, because as opposed to the event I just played in San Diego, the pre-qualifier is on a Sunday and the Monday qualifier is obviously on a Monday. So you fly in Saturday, play Sunday, Monday, and you either in Saturday, out Tuesday, or you get in and boom, you got a week in Hawaii to play the Sony Open to
That's cool.
Try to make a miracle happen.
When is that?
That's usually second, third week of January.
It kind of kicks off the official season, right?
The official season is the former the champions of every event.
The tournament champions at Kapalua.
We carry for people every week. They have these kind of corporate events and blah, 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 blah.
Stapleford's a common tournament,
right. Yeah. What is your definition of Stapleford?
Stableford.
Stable. Okay, all right.
Stableford.
Stable.
It's a point system.
So
typically, it's a lot of people play it different. A lot of the real hacks play 1 point for bogey, 2 points for par. Typically, it's a point for par, right? 3 points for a birdie, 5 points for an eagle, and then you get minus one for a bogey,
and -3 for a double bogey.
Correct.
Or worse, which is great because if you're playing with guys who are going to make a lot of doubles. You're done. You're out of the hole. Pick up.
I guess I'm a real hack because I've been playing the other way where it was like you got a point for a bogey.
Yeah.
that was why I took this. I was like, you get 8 points for an albatross, or as you folks call it, a double net eagle, and then you get 5 points for an eagle, 3 points for a birdie, 1 for a par, and nothing for a bogey. And I'm like, well, what's the point?
Well,
what's the point?
The best thing about Stableford is there is no handicap, so you have a quota you have to reach. So like a
no.
five.
No.
No.
Okay.
Stableford is no handicap. You have quotas that you have to reach. Like a scratch golfer has to make 36 points. That's
we have
2 points. 2 points for what a par.
The Yankee
18
system.
18 times 2.
The Yankee system is very different from back in the homeland where we invented the game. So
is that where we have to do our research on the history of Stableford?
Maybe
game.
we could speak to wee Ron.
Or Big Tony.
Big Game Golf, and they can explain to us.
The history of Stableford.
Have you been using Big Game Golf at all, Eddie?
I have. I've been repping the hoodies a lot to play and at work, and
but not playing enough golf to use the app.
Not playing enough golf to use the app yet.
But I'll tell you what, we're going to send out a quick message from the sponsor right now, and then we're going to move on to a couple of mailbag questions straight after. Every golfing group has the guy who coordinates the weekly game or the buddies trip. If you're that guy, you'll be very familiar with the pain and frustration scheduling, managing and scoring your game. Why not make your life easier by downloading the Big Game Golf app and start saving time and hassle today? Whether you're a caddy wanting to engage more with your golfers, a pro shop wanting to get out of running the weekly game, or you're that guy wanting to streamline the process, Big Game Golf is here to help you. The app has over 30 games, so there is no need to keep playing the same boring games with your mates week in and week out. The app is also fully integrated with the USGA, so every player's handicap will automatically be incorporated, which saves time and, more importantly, sandbagging. Simply choose your game, keep score, and the app will do all the calculations with live scoring, leaderboards, and contest results. Big Game Golf will even text players the final results. So start improving your golf experience today by downloading the app, Big Game Golf. So if you haven't already downloaded the app, please do. Exciting announcement actually for us, maybe not the listeners. We Ron is coming out in about a month time. We're going to have a real life caddy podcast golf day. That's for the people that are involved in the podcast. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's not for the listeners, but we are going to go to Seascape and have a golf day out, which we will report back, and we'll have wee Ron on the podcast.
Perfect. Been looking forward to that.
You and him will feel very
Ron.
at home. Pair of 5-footers.
Oh, get out of here.
Yep. Eddie, if you want to join, there'll be 3 5-footers. I tell you.
That's me on stilts.
Now, the Stableford competition, which obviously I am a big fan of, the Hack Stableford scoring system. It was called the Classic.
Terrible.
I was talking to wee Neil, who was in the group ahead of me, and I was talking to another caddy in the group behind me, and they both had the same comment to me. Basically, any tournament called the Classic is anything but.
Not classic.
When we have the real life caddy podcast, we will not call it the Classic, we'll call it the Invitational.
Ooh, I like that better. Invitational is always better.
Invitational
sounds better.
Invite only.
Because the thing is, there's absolutely no level there. There's no expectation. There's no quality. It's purely invitational. Yeah. But if you call something the Classic,
yeah, that's terrible.
Garbage.
It's usually anything but.
Agreed.
Absolute shite.
And now that I think about it, all the classics that I'm a part of are caddy, and they're terrible. Yeah,
they're absolute trash.
Terrible,
The Bob Hope Classic,
awful.
The Bob Hope Classic, one of the worst events. Oh, actually, no, one of the best events to caddy in. Probably one of the worst to actually play in.
Yeah,
because again, you're playing with amateurs.
it's pro-am.
Scraping the barrel.
Lads, we have to move on to some listener mailbag questions.
Please do.
Now, the first one. Caesar episode was outstanding. Mm-hmm. Do you have any new stories? That's from an Andrew from Littleton in Colorado. And I would have to agree with you, Andrew.
Lots of comments.
I did not realize how many caddies locally listen to this podcast.
It's crazy. Every day I'm getting a new one coming up to me saying, man, that Caesar episode was classic. And I actually forgot about this, but I do have a brief Caesar story.
Go for it.
So last week there was this corporate group. Caesar happened to be on request on this corporate group. He was a group in front of us. So Troy Bumgardner and I get on this corporate group. They had played 2 days previous, so they've already played around the resort. Husband and wife, doubles, off carts. We get up there. They said, we're going to play a 4-person scramble today. Oh. We look at each other. Troy and I start hugging, high-fiving, and Caesar's up there with another caddy doing his doing his thing as Caesar does. And I'm like, we're just waiting for a gem out of Caesar because something's going to happen. We really get nothing all day, although he was on the third tee box, maybe puffing a little Chiba because they were playing a scramble and they were up. The third tee box, the red tee's kind of off on the way, so he's doing his thing down there. So anyways, we get done. The manager beforehand, I asked him specifically, I said, hey, is there, because corporate groups, a lot of times there's money out of the shop. He said, no, there's no money out of the shop. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we get done. My guy hands me what he's going to hand me. He said, hey, here's a little something, just so you know there's money in the shop for you. I said, oh, cool. Okay, so I walk over. Sure enough, there's money in the shop. Didn't get really anything out of Caesar all day. Thought it was the end. This is the end of the loop. We're walking away. Troy gets his money. We start walking back to the car. All of a sudden, Caesar comes up in his truck, screeches tires in front of the pro shop, hops out of the cab of his truck, looks up at us and yells, hey, how much money was in the shop? Did you get 100 or 200? And I'm like, Caesar, your players are right there. They don't need to be hearing that. And Troy was like, we haven't looked yet. And Troy's like, keep walking. And Caesar gave me a gem as I was walking away.
We saw him yesterday. Me and Eddie saw him
Did you?
yesterday. Yeah.
Was he like working in front of it?
Yeah, he was about
if you call
4
it
holes
that.
behind. It's coming for you. I tell you what, jeez.
Did you?
Laziest caddy ever met, by the way, old Eddie.
Is he?
Eddie's preserving himself for playing golf.
I don't want to hurt my back. Big G.
Puts in as little effort as possible when caddying.
For the record, I did see Big G. He calls it sprinting, but would call it jogging.
Jogging.
I've never seen him run it.
I didn't know he had it in him. I never seen him move so fast.
Was he running away from a bee or something? Was the bee chasing him?
But we saw him yesterday. He's 4 holes behind us. We're on the 5th tee. He's on the first green.
Was he yelling, big course?
No, I was wee course. I went, hey, Caesar. And he actually looked at me and went, all hail.
Yes.
I heard it.
He's embracing it.
We've created a beast.
Caesar?
Did you actually buy him that outfit?
No. I saw there was a Caesar outfit in Spirit Halloween. I was like, I got to kind of get this for Caesar because he'd wear it on a loop if he's embracing it like that.
Shows up on Halloween.
We love you, Caesar.
Zabbo actually texted me the other day and said, why don't we invite him to the Real Life Caddy Podcast Golf Day? I'm on the fence. Caesar, if you're listening, fight your case.
We're thinking about it.
It's invitational now, Caesar.
It's
not a classic.
invitational.
It's not the classic.
It was no longer the classic. If it was a classic, there was no chance. Invitational, you have a chance.
Now, with that being said, he has become a talking point, so
Big
maybe
time.
he has almost earned his right.
Here's the thing, though, about a talking point. You don't want him to become the talking point of the invitational.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the problem, isn't
He
it?
kind of would do that probably too.
Because let's be honest,
who Caesar is.
If it's Big G organising an event, no one's going to put their hand in their pocket for anything. Okay? So he does like to, from what I hear, he does like a Modelo or 10. So
I just hear things. I
just hear things like that. So next question from our good friend Adolf.
Adolf.
Yep. He says, I'm reaching out to you to see if you have any experience with this argument below of what your thoughts are. When you're looking at a course and choosing which tees to play, do you compare the course you're playing to your home course? Depending on what you are looking at, to compare what tees to play, do you refer to similar yardages or do you look at the slope ratings? We are getting ready to head to Scottsdale and this question came up on how to choose our tees. The elevation argument has also come up. Angry Joel, who remember I named him, Angry Joel and I can't really get on the same page in this. We're going to play Quintero. One of the combo tees is 6,100 yards. My argument is that we should play the 6,500 yard tees to the comparable yardages to our home course. All the players' handicaps are the same at these tees as they are at our home course. Joel's argument is the slope is way too high, and due to the lower elevation, we should play the 6,100 yards. The simple caddy answer to that is
tee it forward.
Move.
Tee it forward.
Yes.
You get out of here. It's always going to be more fun to shoot better numbers. Always. I've never once talked somebody into playing a shorter golf course, and at the end they said, "Wow, that was too short." I've never once heard that. Never once heard, "Oh, that was too short at the end."
Pay it forward and tee it forward.
Well,
tee it forward.
When people want to play gold or white where we work, I always say, well, listen, let's start at white. Mm-hmm. And if it's too easy, you can always go back the way.
Exactly.
And if you shoot 65 at the big course, the first question anyone ever asks is never going to be, what tees did you play?
Correct.
So, Angry Joel, for once, I'm on his side.
He's right. He's right. Play it forward. Have fun.
In all fairness, Adolf, I've seen you swing. Get up to 6,100, and if there's any tees ahead of 6,100, maybe 57. 55. Zabbo's got it.
55.
You know, there was something. Have you've been around Bryson DeChambeau?
I have.
Yeah, big fan. No.
Listen, I don't know him personally. My interactions I've had with him have been very brief over time, but they're not positive. And this was years ago. And he grew up in the Northern California area, and some stories I heard about him growing up were not positive. So I don't know. He might be a great guy. I don't know.
He's not.
But, you know, when the vast majority of people are against him, I just seen how he's treated people, and I didn't respect how he handled some situations in a tournament that I was playing with him. So, you know, I like watching him play. He's fun. He's very innovative. Yada yada yada. But I'm sorry, Brazen. I don't root for you.
Okay.
Or Patrick Reed.
Zabbo, not a fan.
No, he was with me for 3 rounds during our pro-am out here, so I got to know him a little bit. And same thing. There's nothing good I would say about him, but I know what you're getting at because I saw exactly what you did.
Yes.
And he said he used to play from the very forward tees.
Yep.
Have fun trying to shoot 59, shooting 61.
Yeah.
You know, have fun doing that first, and once you get to that level, then you start moving it back.
Mm-hmm.
What Zabbo just said was fantastic. And when I was in college,
in all fairness, it was
Bryson
actually DeChambeau.
Okay, all right. Well,
so come on, you might dislike him, but come on, don't be taking that out away from the guy.
Okay, all right.
That's all he's got.
But it's accurate.
Okay,
it's accurate what Bryson said.
It wasn't like that was the first time that anyone's ever tried to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, when I was in college,
I don't know, because you know you'll often hear the saying "never up, never in." I actually coined that phrase.
Oh, you did?
Personally, yes.
What stemmed you coining that phrase?
Sorry?
What
Why'd you
come up with that phrase?
Well, because I was caddying for somebody back in 1912, and they were short, and I said never up, never in.
Bingo! It's
Bingo,
done.
here we go.
Stuck.
Ever since,
110 years later, still got it.
And he's patented it.
But as you're going back to saying, listen, DeChambeau, whoever said it first, that's a great idea, isn't it?
Well, okay, absolutely. Because first of all, we used to do this back in college. Our coach used to make us play from the ladies' tees and say, here's the deal. You got to hit driver every hole. You're going to learn how to hit driver, and you're going to get masterful with the wedges and putting. And last time I checked, that's where the game is. You got to hit it straight off the tee. You got to learn how to hit it straight, and you better be able to chip and putt if you're going to compete at a high level. So when people are uncertain about what tees to play, yeah, you don't have to go to the Reds. Maybe just go one behind the Reds. Even if it's 5,700 yards, 6,000 yards, and you think you should be playing 7,000 yards, I'm yet to encounter someone who I thought has played far enough forward.
Yeah.
What about you guys? I mean, so let me ask you this. When you guys get on the first tee and someone says, hey, Zabbo, Big G, should we play these tees or those tees? How do you convince someone to play the up tees?
I always tell them this course plays 400 or 500 yards longer than what it says on the card. You look at that card and add 500 yards, and it's going to play that.
But our club back home is 6,700
I
yards.
usually tell people, you trust me? If this is how the conversation starts, you trust me? Yes. Okay, we're going to play the Reds. Listen, no one's ever been disappointed playing the front tees, etc. I'm a big proponent of playing what we call the cross country and playing a mix.
Yeah, moving back on certain
gold,
holes.
white, blue here.
Exactly. You know, gold and white, but back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a long caddy, you know, like today, we had a situation where the boys, Eddie was giving me a hard time about this, right?
Standard.
But they already had the ball teed in the gold. I heard the conversation that he was too busy talking about the Grateful Dead or some music nonsense, right? With one of the guys. I heard the conversation. There's no way they're going to go off white, right? So I just went, no, gold's fine. But they should have gone, you know,
greens,
gold, white.
Good test there is when you get to the third tee box and they can't carry that bunker. It's like you can't be playing if you can't carry 210 yards.
Yeah.
But ultimately, listen, no one's ever been raging because they shot a super low score. Adolf, your short game's not good enough. So play it forward at Angry Joel and, you know, hone those wedges. Next question. Have you ever been embarrassed on the course playing or caddying Ben Mansour from San Antonio, Texas? Oh, that's a good question.
Zabbo, you go first.
Oh, yeah, many embarrassing situations.
Last Sunday was embarrassing.
No, it wasn't. I had a great time. They were nice young ladies, and we had a lot of fun. I've been embarrassed a few times. I don't know if I want to talk about them on the podcast.
Okay, so,
Eddie, you go. Let me think of appropriate ones.
I remember the last time I was embarrassed. So I qualified for the Farmers PGA tournament at Torrey Pines a couple of years ago in 2020. On the North Course at Torrey Pines, the 8th hole is a par 3, 4-iron, 200 yards. And for my second shot, I had about 90 yards in. Why did I have 90 yards in? Because I shanked it dead right over in another fairway. And when you're in a PGA Tour event, you shank one and everyone's looking at you like, why are you over here? I got my tail between my legs and I'm thinking, oh God, everyone's looking at you like, who is this guy? I don't know who this is. He's over by the maintenance shed over here. That was not a very comfortable feeling. That was tough. But I did birdie the next hole.
Good.
Nice. Actually,
good for you.
Thanks, man.
His shank brings me to one of my my most embarrassing memories. Just not too long ago, is my wife, Maddie D, was there. I think Fish was there. We were at the small par 3 course I played. We were on the second
your
tee,
home course,
my home course, and it was like a busy Saturday. Yeah, and there's a nice young Asian family on the 9th tee box, which is well right of the 2nd tee box, nowhere in the field of vision. And I shanked one right towards him. So I had to yell for it. It was going right at him. And it actually hit the small Asian kid. And then Dad's like, what are you doing? What are you? I'm like, dude, I wasn't trying to shank it. Sorry, bro. And yeah, I kind of had to put my tail between my legs there.
Big G?
I did not birdie the next hole, by the way.
Takes a lot for me to get embarrassed.
Yes.
And when I do get embarrassed, it doesn't last very long.
What about the time you said, so when are you due? And she wasn't pregnant.
We did discuss that. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. That wasn't ideal. But I was caddying the Pro-Am 45 years ago for the CEO of a large golf company. We're on day 3. He hasn't figured he's a 3 handicap. Bullshit. Right? And he came in 0 times. In 54 holes, he came in once. That was it. That's a long 3 days, by the way, at 6 hour pace.
Was he picking up pretty much every hole?
Every hole.
Well, it's perfect because you just sit there and you just.
I know, but here's the problem. Here's the problem. We teed off in 10 on the wee course. So by the time we get to 5, that's our 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Hits the green. And I thought our pro was close enough to basically make par on our 25 footer. So I've just given him a putter and I've walked away. Now, Aaron Rodgers is in the group ahead of us. So with that brings a large crowd. And there's a party behind the green on number 5. And I see another caddy. And he's out there drinking. He's coming over. I would run across him. So I'm now in no man's land. I am so far away from my player.
He's
from the
over
hole,
there looking for a read, and you're nowhere to be.
We're chatting. We're chatting about, like, what you doing tonight? Where we're going? Oh, there's a party over there back. Oh, blah, blah, okay, lovely. And I'm like, well, I'll be done with this shite in about an hour and a half. Right. I'll be looking to spend some of this money. Blah. And all of a sudden, somebody like 6 yards to my right goes, hey, are you the caddy? And I went, uh-huh. And he goes, I think your player wants you.
He's looking for a read.
So I turn around and the guy's like, I need a read. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So like right edge or something. I'm shouting across. There's probably 5,000 people all the way around the green.
Wow.
Of course, he hits it 5 feet past, misses it 3 putts. We'd end up taking the pros 4. And that was it. Yeah,
wow.
the pros 4, he 3-putted from 10 feet. So it wasn't you, Eddie, but it was some other clown. But yeah,
just today,
I was embarrassed from the walk from like
green to the tee,
having to walk from talking to Johnny back to the putt till it's like, oh man, this is brutal. So
he quickly got over it.
All right, lads, let's move on to shoutouts. What you got?
All right,
Eddie?
So I want to shout out Rogers from the club. We saw him the other day there. He was the first time I met him. He actually knew the episode name that I was on. So Rogers, you the man.
Jeez.
Thanks for listening.
Liverpool fan though, big Liverpool fan. Not happy about that.
Well, he's a podcast fan, so he gets a pass.
He gets a pass.
Rogers, what's up, man? And we want to shout out a recent group we had: Ryan Resinger, Heather, Shiara, and Eric from Philly. You guys were awesome. That was a great time to be with you. But go Niners.
Ryan actually has on the side. He's got a business. It's called Legendary Woods. On Instagram, it's Legendary PA Hardwoods. So Legendary PA, I guess, would that be Pennsylvania?
It would.
Hardwoods, cracking stuff, unbelievable. He's got a real passion for wood, right? In the right way, and doing some really good stuff. So there you go. Anything else?
We also want to say what's up to Nick the Greek.
Nick the Greek.
Nick
Why?
the Greek.
Nick the Greek. Shout out to you for buying us some beers.
Thank you,
Appreciate you, man. Thank
Top
you very
lad.
much. We owe you one. Cheers.
We also got to shout out Tyler Dortch, who also bought us some beers. Great dude,
Yes.
Tyler.
What's up,
Hope
T?
you're coming back soon.
Yeah. If anyone actually wants to support the podcast, you can. There's a number of different things you can do. You can go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and you can go to the website glorifieddonkey.com and you can buy some beers. If you
Get
don't,
on there,
no
buy
worries.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also got to shout out my good buddy Blair Sullivan. It's funny how you lose contact with some of your buddies and then you talk to them and they don't realize you're doing a podcast. So Blair started listening, loving the podcast.
What up, Blair?
What up, Blair? Got to shout out Brittany, Carrie, Ryan, and Jake. That was a fun loop. Hope you guys come back sometime in the near future. Got to shout out also John Barba, who I just caddied for. He writes for mygolfspy.com. Pretty good following. I know he's going to be a listener to the podcast. He's also playing with another guy called Waz, and I hear Waz talking, right? We're on the first he introduced myself. I hear Waz talking. I'm like, this guy's from Rhode Island, where I'm from. I said, I bet I could narrow it down to the city. I'm like, this guy's from Warwick, Rhode Island. So I go, you're from Warwick, Rhode Island, aren't you? He's like, well, I'm from Cranston, which is about 3 minutes over the line of Warwick. But he's like, but I live in Warwick now. I'm like, wow, nailed that one. So.
Yeah, it's Cranston, Warwick, or Providence.
And I also got to shout out my lovely wife, Marianne. She's a listener to the podcast.
Oh, of course, yeah.
She says you never shout me out. So
He's
Marianne,
obligated to do so.
Shout out to Marianne. Appreciate your support.
Marianne, he fell in love last week.
No, he didn't. I'm already in love. I have a wife.
I have a photo
Carrie
of Zabbo
and Brittany know.
on the back of 18 green at the wee course, and they're all puffing away on menthol cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Carrie was not a smoker. Brittany did have a menthol or two. Carrie was definitely not a smoker.
Lovely. I want to say hello to everyone listening in a place called Basingstoke in Hampshire. Hampshire is southwest of London. It's not far from a place called Southampton. I believe that's where the Titanic took off from.
There you go.
What do
A
you
little factoid for you.
Now, I looked into it, and there's a place called Weybrook Park. If you're looking to play golf down in Basingstoke, you have Weybrook Park, the Basingstoke Golf Academy, the Basingstoke Golf Centre, the Basingstoke Driving Range, Knights Realm Adventure Golf. That'd be your kind of place, Zabbo.
At Basingstoke.
It sounds like it's a short course.
Nice.
And they give away medals for hole-in-ones.
Perfect.
Or putt-in-ones.
Nice.
There's an American Golf in Basingstoke. A Basingstoke Disc Golf, which Matty D would love. And we also have Basingstoke Golf Club. So everyone who's listening down there, thank you.
Shout out to you.
Big shout out for
Thank you.
And all our listeners in Vietnam. We got to shout out Vietnam.
Everyone in Vietnam.
Come on.
There's a lad
Bring us
called
to number one.
We're still bringing it for you, Vietnam.
Pass it around, get us to number one. There's a guy called Robert Barnes. He's an Aussie, and I met him in 2019. But he now lives in Seattle. Okay. Now he sent me his friends to carry for them a couple of weeks ago. So great group of lads. They play poker, and they have done in a big group of about 20, 30 guys. Not everyone turns up every week, but they're the core members.
Nice.
And they've been doing it for 20 years.
That's pretty cool.
20 years playing
pretty
poker,
cool.
and they'd play at different guys' houses, every Thursday night, I think it is, or Wednesday night. And the last one is there's a lad that listens to the podcast, and his name is Herbert Rep.
What? Herbert
Rep, R-E-P-P, right?
Herbert Rep?
Herbert Rep. And he's actually...
Herb Rep?
I think his friends call him Herbie.
Herb.
The Herb Man.
Herb Rep.
So they're all in California. He's part of a golf group. And he asked to give a shout out to a guy called Ray Shea.
Ray Shea?
Ray Shea.
Shay.
And
Herb Rep to Ray Shea.
I don't know. It's not a wind-up. I hope not. He's got some major health issues. And apparently he may never play golf again. And he is the biggest golf, like the best golfer of the group and the biggest golf player.
Damn, that's a bummer, Ray.
We're sending our good wishes out to you, Ray,
Sending you the best, Ray,
to Herbert. So they'll be absolutely buzzing that we're shouting them out. So there you go, folks. I think that's wraps up another episode of the Real Life Caddy podcast. If you have any questions, comments you want to shout out, please email them in, podcast@glorifieddonkey.com. If you want to support us, follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube. You're going to start seeing Eddie playing a wee bit of golf on YouTube, on the Glorified Donkey YouTube channel very soon. And you can buy some beers by going to the website. Zabbo, many thanks for your time.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And
Eddie,
Zabbo, if those girls come back into town,
I'll hit you. I know. I'm a married man.
double date.
Send your boys some love.
No, you know what? See if the girls come into town next time. Man bun Eddie and set them up with the girls, eh?
Yeah.
And then Big G can be the walking scorer.
There you go. Carrie needs to get to Big Sur. She was pretty upset she didn't make it to Big Sur because they all got a little tipsy the night before and they weren't able to get up early enough. So next time you're back, we'll give you a tour of Big Sur.
If I was the walking scorers, Eddie, I'd be like, Eddie missed another putt. That was an easy one. He missed that one. Excellent. Eddie, thanks for your time. Good luck with all your training and practice, and we look forward to having you.
Eddie.
Thanks, Big G. Thanks, Zabbo. Always good to be with you boys. Looking forward to coming back on soon.
And for all the listeners, many thanks for listening. If you're new to the podcast, make sure and go back and listen to the previous episodes. But until the next time, enjoy your golf, but more importantly, keep it humble.